MASH, the iconic TV series that aired from 1972 to 1983, captured the hearts and minds of audiences with its clever mix of comedy and drama. Set during the Korean War, the series followed the staff at the 4077 Mobile Army Surgical Hospital, offering both a sharp-witted look at military life and a somber reflection on the human cost of war. But behind the laughter and heartfelt moments, not all was harmonious. Some key actors, who seemed to be staples of the series, suddenly walked away, leaving fans and industry insiders alike wondering why they left such a successful show. What really happened behind the scenes that prompted these departures, and how did those decisions impact both the actors' careers and the show's future? Today, we uncover the untold stories of the actors who chose to leave MASH, and the real reasons behind their decisions. When MASH debuted, it seemed like a perfect storm of talent and timing. The show introduced audiences to Captain Benjamin Hawkeye Pierce, portrayed by Alan Alda, a gifted surgeon with a razor-sharp sense of humor. Alongside him were fellow characters like Captain Trapper John McIntyre, Major Margaret Hot Lips Houlihan, and Major Frank Burns, each bringing their own dynamic to the screen. From the very first season, the show managed to strike a perfect balance between humor and the grim realities of war. The staff at the 4077th were constantly faced with life-and-death situations, but they used humor to cope with the overwhelming violence surrounding them. As the series progressed, MASH became more than just a comedy about war. By the second season, the characters began to evolve beyond their initial roles. Hawkeye and Trapper John's pranks and rebellious antics continued to challenge authority, while Major Houlihan and Major Burns embodied the rigidity and discipline of the military, creating a tension that was ripe for comedic exploration. But by season 3, the show started tackling deeper issues, including the ethical complexities of war and the toll it took on the characters' mental and emotional health. The loss of Lieutenant Colonel Henry Blake in the season 3 finale, when his plane was shot down, was a shocking moment that reflected the harsh unpredictability of war. This turning point paved the way for major changes to the show. Trapper left the series, and in came Captain B.J. Honeycutt, played by Mike Farrell, who formed a new bond with Hawkeye. The show also saw Colonel Sherman T. Potter replace Blake, bringing in a seasoned, wise leader who won the respect of the staff almost immediately. With these changes, MASH found new ways to explore both the personal and professional challenges of its characters. By the time the 5th season arrived, Major Charles Emerson Winchester III joined the team. Portrayed by David Ogden Stiers, Winchester was a highly skilled surgeon, but his arrogance and superiority complex created fresh tensions. The series continued its unique blend of comedy and drama, with each character facing their own personal demons, whether it was grappling with the absurdities of military life or struggling with the psychological scars of war. As MASH neared its later seasons, the tone became more reflective. By seasons 9 and 10, the characters began considering life beyond the war, contemplating what the end of their service meant for their futures. As the series approached its final episodes, the intensity of the war took its toll on the characters, and their emotional growth and personal introspection became a central theme. Relationships between the staff deepened, and the show's humor became tempered by moments of sadness and reflection. But the departures of some beloved stars were inevitable. The most shocking of these came from the actors who had become integral to the show's success. The tension between personal and professional obligations eventually led to changes that would alter the course of the series. In particular, the departure of MASH's co-creator and its key actors had a profound impact. Alan Alda, while beloved for his portrayal of Hawkeye, was increasingly drawn to other creative opportunities, making the actor's decision to take on directing and writing more of the show's episodes a key factor in his departure. As the show's creator and central figure, Alda's shift away from the role indicated the end of a significant chapter for MASH. The final episode, Goodbye, Farewell, and Amen, aired on February 28, 1983, marking the end of an era. The 2.5-hour special was an emotional send-off for the characters who had become family to viewers over the course of 11 years. The staff of the 4077th said their goodbyes as the war they had endured came to a close. It was a fitting end to a show that had always balanced humor with deep emotional and social commentary. MASH's legacy is immense. It remains one of the most celebrated TV shows in history, not just for its groundbreaking writing and performances, but for how it introduced complex themes like the psychological effects of war, the absurdity of military bureaucracy, and the power of friendship during times of crisis. While it was a cultural touchstone of its time, the impact of MASH continues to resonate today. In the end, MASH was a reflection of the times it portrayed and the lives of those who brought it to life. The actors who left the show, whether due to personal struggles, creative differences, or a desire to seek new paths, shaped the series in ways that we can still appreciate today. These departures were not simply career moves. They were life-altering decisions that mirrored the very themes the show tackled: sacrifice, growth, and the inevitable changes that come with time. Through it all, MASH proved that sometimes the most unforgettable stories are the ones that happen behind the scenes. MASH, one of the most iconic television shows of all time, resonated with millions of viewers thanks to its unique blend of humor and heartfelt drama. However, not all was smooth sailing behind the scenes. Despite the success of the show, some actors chose to leave, each for their own reasons, forever altering the course of both the series and their careers. Today, we dive into the real stories behind the departures, starting with one of the most significant, McLean Stevenson, who portrayed the beloved Colonel Henry Blake. Born on November 14, 1927, in Normal, Illinois, McLean Stevenson came from a family deeply rooted in public service, with a father who was a cardiologist and a cousin, Adlai Stevenson II, who ran for president twice. Though his early life was steeped in academic achievement and the expectation of a prestigious career, Stevenson charted his own course. His passion, it turned out, lay in the world of entertainment. After briefly serving in the U.S. Navy, an experience that aligned with his family's legacy, Stevenson attended Northwestern University, where he graduated with a degree in theater arts. His journey into acting, however, was not linear. He initially worked in various fields, including selling insurance and serving as a press secretary for his cousin's presidential campaign. These roles, while not related to acting, helped him develop a broad skill set that would prove invaluable later on. Stevenson's entry into show business came through radio, where he hosted shows in Dallas. His charisma and smooth voice quickly won him a local following. He also began to make a name for himself as a writer, contributing to The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson. In the early 1960s, he moved to New York City and started acting, enrolling at the American Musical and Dramatic Academy to hone his craft. By 1972, Stevenson's career took a significant turn when he was cast as the lovable and often bumbling Lieutenant Colonel Henry Blake on MASH. His portrayal of Blake, the easygoing commanding officer of the 4077, won over audiences. His warmth and humor offered a much-needed human touch amid the intense, often tragic depictions of war. Stevenson's performance earned him a Golden Globe in 1974, and his character became a fan favorite. But despite the success and acclaim, McLean Stevenson made the decision to leave the show after the third season, much to the shock of fans and industry insiders alike. Stevenson's departure was driven by several factors. First and foremost, he felt his character was underutilized. He believed he had more to offer and wanted to take on roles where he could showcase his full range of talents. Additionally, Stevenson was frustrated with the growing focus on Alan Alda's Hawkeye Pierce and Loretta Swit's Margaret Houlihan. He wanted to be in the spotlight and was no longer content being part of an ensemble cast. This dissatisfaction led to his decision to leave MASH at the height of its popularity. Stevenson's exit was as dramatic as it was memorable. In the final episode of the third season, Henry Blake is discharged from the Army and prepares to return home, only to have the episode end with the shocking news that his plane has been shot down and he has died. This tragic turn of events was not just unexpected but groundbreaking for television at the time. It was rare for a show to tackle the fatal consequences of war so directly, and this episode is still regarded as one of the most emotional and impactful moments in TV history. After leaving MASH, McLean Stevenson sought to capitalize on his newfound fame. He starred in The McLean Stevenson Show in 1976, where he played Mac Ferguson, a role that was expected to replicate the success he had achieved on MASH. However, despite high expectations, the show failed to resonate with audiences and was canceled after just one season. Undeterred, Stevenson continued to pursue leading roles in television, appearing in various projects throughout the late 1970s and early 1980s. Though Stevenson's post-MASH career never quite reached the same heights as his time on the show, his decision to leave had a lasting impact on both his career and the trajectory of MASH itself. His exit marked a shift in the show's dynamic, with new characters being introduced and the overall tone evolving. Despite his relatively short time on the show, McLean Stevenson's portrayal of Colonel Blake remains one of the defining aspects of MASH. In the years that followed, Stevenson would reflect on his time on MASH with mixed feelings. While he was proud of his work, he also expressed regret over how his departure affected the series and the relationships he had formed with the cast and crew. Nonetheless, his legacy as Colonel Henry Blake endures, and his decision to leave the show remains one of the most pivotal moments in MASH history. McLean Stevenson's departure from MASH was not just a career move. It was a reflection of his desire for more and a desire to shape his own path. His decision opened the door for new characters and new directions for the show, but it also marked the end of a beloved era. Though his post-MASH career may not have been as successful, Stevenson's impact on television is undeniable. His departure, however, remains a fascinating chapter in the history of one of the most iconic shows in television history. Wayne Rogers, born William Wayne McMillan, Rogers III on April 7, 1933, in Birmingham, Alabama, had a trajectory that would ultimately make him one of MASH's most beloved stars. But his journey to fame wasn't without its struggles. Rogers' early life was marked by his academic interests and active participation in extracurricular activities. He attended Ramsey High School, where he demonstrated a strong aptitude for both academics and athletics. After graduation, he went on to Princeton University, an Ivy League school, where he earned a degree in history in 1954. During his time at Princeton, Rogers was involved with the Triangle Club, a theater troupe known for its musical comedies. While this experience sparked his interest in acting, Rogers didn't immediately pursue a career in the arts. After Princeton, Rogers enlisted in the U.S. Navy, serving as a navigator aboard the USS Dana, a store ship. This period in his life helped shape his ability to work in disciplined and structured environments, skills that would serve him well in his acting career. However, it was during his time in the Navy that Rogers began to seriously consider acting as his future. Upon leaving the Navy, Rogers made the decision to follow his passion and study acting. He enrolled at the prestigious Neighborhood Playhouse School of the Theater in New York City, studying under renowned acting coach Sanford Meisner. This training laid the foundation for his acting skills, but like many struggling actors, Rogers faced a tough start. To support himself, he took on a variety of odd jobs, including waiting tables, driving a cab, and even working as a lifeguard while continuing to audition for acting roles. Rogers' early career was a mix of small roles in television and film, with his first screen appearance coming in the TV series Search for Tomorrow in 1959. The same year he appeared in the film Odds Against Tomorrow. While these early roles were a starting point, Rogers' career didn't take off immediately, and he spent much of the early 1960s taking on more minor roles. In 1972, Rogers received his big break when he was cast as the charming and rebellious trapper John McIntyre on MASH. The show was set during the Korean War, following the lives of the staff at the 4077 Mobile Army Surgical Hospital. Rogers' portrayal of Trapper John, a witty and carefree surgeon, made him an instant fan favorite. His character had great chemistry with Alan Alda's Hawkeye Pierce, and together they became the heart of the show during its early years. However, despite the immense popularity of MASH, Rogers made the decision to leave the series after the third season. His departure shocked both fans and cast members alike, as MASH was one of the top shows on television at the time. Rogers explained that his decision to leave was based on his desire to pursue other creative opportunities and take on more challenging roles. He felt that his character, Trapper John, had reached a natural conclusion, and he wanted to explore different aspects of acting. Furthermore, Rogers was frustrated with the direction the show was taking, particularly with the increasing focus on Hawkeye Pierce, played by Alan Alda. Rogers' exit left a significant gap in the show, as Trapper John was a major character in the early seasons. His departure marked a shift in the dynamic of MASH, and the show introduced a new character, Captain B.J. Honeycutt, played by Mike Farrell, to fill the void left by Trapper. Although the show continued to be successful after Rogers' departure, the chemistry between Alda and Rogers was irreplaceable. Following his time on MASH, Rogers went on to star in several other television shows and films, but none achieved the same level of success or recognition as his role as Trapper John. He starred in the short-lived House Calls, 1979 to 1982, a medical comedy that, while beloved by fans, was not a commercial success. He also appeared in the film The Red Light Sting and had guest roles in various TV series. Despite his post-MASH career not reaching the heights of his earlier success, Rogers remained a beloved figure in the entertainment industry. He was known for his wit, charm, and easygoing personality, qualities that made him a favorite guest on talk shows and game shows. He also remained active in various charitable endeavors and often spoke about the importance of maintaining a balanced perspective on fame and success. In later years, Rogers was reflective about his decision to leave MASH. While he expressed no regrets, he did acknowledge that leaving the show was a difficult choice, and in hindsight, he wondered if it had been the right move for his career. Nevertheless, he remained proud of his time on MASH, recognizing the show's cultural significance and enduring legacy. Rogers' portrayal of Trapper John will forever remain one of the defining roles in television history. Wayne Rogers' career was a testament to the complexity of Hollywood fame, the pressures of typecasting, and the desire for creative freedom. His departure from MASH may have been a risk, but it was a decision that allowed him to explore other opportunities and ultimately led to a diverse body of work. Though he never quite replicated the success of MASH, Rogers' impact on the entertainment industry remains undeniable, and his portrayal of Trapper John McIntyre will always be remembered as one of the most beloved characters in television history. When Wayne Rogers was cast as Captain Trapper John McIntyre in the legendary TV series MASH, it marked the beginning of a defining chapter in his career. Trapper John, a thoracic surgeon and the best friend and foil to the show's lead character, Captain Benjamin Hawkeye Pierce, played by Alan Alda, was an integral part of the ensemble. The show, which blended humor and drama, quickly became a massive hit, drawing in audiences with its sharp writing and memorable characters. Rogers' portrayal of Trapper John was widely praised for its wit, charm, and deep sense of ethics, qualities that made him stand out among the rest of the ensemble cast. His chemistry with Alda was particularly significant, bringing a dynamic mix of humor, warmth, and humanity to the series that resonated with viewers. Together, Rogers and Alda formed a powerful on-screen duo, making their interactions one of the key factors in the show's runaway success. However, despite MASH's tremendous success, Rogers made the difficult decision to leave the show after the third season in 1975. This decision surprised many fans and marked a major turning point in his career. The primary reason for his departure was creative differences with the show's producers. Rogers felt that his character, Trapper John, was increasingly being sidelined in favor of Alda's Hawkeye, and he was frustrated by the lack of substantial storylines for his character. Rogers, ever the professional, wanted more of an equal footing with Alda's character, but the producers refused to make the changes that Rogers felt were necessary. Ultimately, this dissatisfaction with the direction of his character led to his decision to leave, despite the show's popularity and success. Rogers' departure left a notable gap in the MASH family, and while the show continued for many more seasons, it was clear that the magic between Rogers and Alda could not be easily replaced. After his exit, Rogers continued his acting career with a variety of roles in both television and film. He starred in House Calls, 1979 to 1982, a medical comedy where he played Dr. Charlie Michaels. His performance earned him a Golden Globe nomination, further proving his range as an actor. He also appeared in other TV shows like City of Angels and made several guest appearances in movies and TV series. One of his standout roles after MASH was his portrayal of civil rights activist Morris Dees in the television movie Ghosts of Mississippi, a role that allowed him to delve into more dramatic and serious subject matter. In addition to his acting career, Rogers became an accomplished businessman and investor, a side of his life that many fans were unaware of. His interest in finance began during his time on MASH, and he eventually managed his own investment portfolio, earning the nickname The Wizard for his financial expertise. Rogers was a regular contributor to Fox News Channel's program Cashin' In, where he shared his insights on the stock market and investments. His success in the financial world was a testament to his sharp intellect and ability to excel in multiple fields. Rogers' personal life was as dynamic and complex as his professional one. He was married twice, first to actress Mitzi McWater in 1960. The couple had 2 children together, a son, William Rogers IV, and a daughter, Laura Rogers. Unfortunately, their marriage ended in divorce in 1983, after several years of living separately. In 1988, Rogers married Amy Hirsch, and the couple remained together until Rogers' death. Throughout his personal life, Rogers faced rumors and speculation, including reports of a son named Luigi Calibra, allegedly fathered with actress Melinda Nod. However, Rogers' private life remained largely private, and he was never one to shy away from keeping certain aspects of his life out of the public eye. After a long and successful career, Wayne Rogers passed away on December 31, 2015, due to complications from pneumonia. He was 82 years old. His death marked the end of an era, as Rogers' contributions to both television and the financial world left a lasting legacy. His portrayal of Trapper John on MASH remains one of the most iconic performances in television history, and his influence as a businessman continues to inspire those in the financial sector. Rogers' ability to navigate both acting and business with equal prowess made him a true Renaissance man in Hollywood. He will be remembered as not just a talented actor, but as a man who was able to seamlessly transition between worlds, excelling in whatever he set his mind to. Larry Linville, another beloved star from MASH, brought his own unique charm to the show. Born on September 29, 1939, in Ojai, California, and raised in Sacramento, Linville's early years hinted at a bright future in performance, but it wasn't until later that his passion for acting fully blossomed. Initially, Linville attended the University of Colorado, where he studied aeronautical engineering. However, his interests soon shifted to the performing arts, and he found himself applying to the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, RADA, in London. To his delight, Linville was accepted, becoming one of only 3 Americans to receive a scholarship at RADA. Linville's training at RADA was intense, immersing him in a rigorous classical curriculum that would later influence his approach to acting. Upon returning to the U.S., Linville embarked on a professional career in theater and television. He performed with the Barter Theater in Abingdon, Virginia, under the guidance of Robert Hufford Porterfield, which allowed him to hone his craft. Throughout the late 1960s and early 1970s, Linville began to land more prominent roles in television. He appeared in shows like Bonanza, The FBI, and Room 222, helping to establish his reputation as a versatile actor capable of taking on a wide variety of characters. However, Linville's big break came in 1972 when he was cast as Major Frank Burns in MASH. Burns was the bumbling, often antagonistic character who stood in stark contrast to the beloved Trapper John and Hawkeye. Linville's portrayal of Burns, though often irritating and over the top, was a key part of the show's dynamics. His character's ridiculousness, particularly his attempts to control the chaos of the 4077th, provided much-needed comic relief and helped to balance out the more serious moments of the show. While Burns was despised by the other characters on the show, Linville's performance was widely praised, and he became an integral part of the MASH ensemble. Linville remained on MASH for the show's entire run, appearing in all 11 seasons. His time on the series left a lasting impact on viewers, and his portrayal of Frank Burns remains one of the show's most memorable roles. After MASH wrapped up, Linville continued his acting career, making guest appearances in a variety of TV shows, including The Love Boat and Dynasty. However, he was never able to recapture the same level of fame or recognition that MASH had given him. Larry Linville passed away on April 10, 2000, at the age of 60 from cancer. His death marked the end of a memorable career, but his portrayal of Major Frank Burns lives on as one of the most iconic characters in television history. Linville's contribution to MASH and the entertainment world as a whole cannot be overstated, and his legacy continues to be celebrated by fans of the show. Both Wayne Rogers and Larry Linville played pivotal roles in shaping the success of MASH, and their performances left an indelible mark on the television landscape. While their paths diverged after the show, their careers serve as a testament to the versatility and longevity of talented actors who can navigate both the world of television and beyond. Whether as Trapper John McIntyre or Major Frank Burns, these 2 actors helped to create one of the most beloved and enduring television series in history. Larry Linville's portrayal of Major Frank Burns in MASH remains one of the most iconic and memorable performances in television history. Burns, the bumbling, arrogant, and perpetually paranoid surgeon, stood as a stark contrast to the beloved main characters, Hawkeye Pierce and Trapper John McIntyre, later B.J. Honeycutt. Linville's interpretation of Frank Burns added a unique blend of humor and tension to the show, solidifying the character's place in pop culture. Burns was often the butt of practical jokes and verbal barbs from his colleagues, with Linville expertly highlighting his incompetence and insecurities. Despite his character's flaws, Linville managed to inject a surprising depth into Burns, showcasing his vulnerability and making him more than just a one-dimensional figure of ridicule. Larry Linville left MASH after its 5th season in 1977, driven by his dissatisfaction with the lack of depth in his character, Frank Burns. Though Burns was central to the show's humor and tension, Linville felt the role had become too shallow, limited to comedic moments and negative traits. Wanting to escape typecasting and explore more meaningful, dynamic roles, he made the bold choice to leave a hit series at its peak. While he never achieved the same level of fame again, Linville built a steady post-MASH career with appearances in popular TV shows like The Love Boat, Fantasy Island, and Murder, she wrote, along with roles in films such as School Spirit and Earth Girls Are Easy. These projects highlighted his range and commitment to acting, even if they didn't reach the acclaim of his earlier work. Off-screen, Linville's personal life was equally complex. He married multiple times and had one daughter, Kelly, from his first marriage to Kate Geer. His subsequent relationships with Vanna Tribby, Melissa Gallant, Susan Hagen, and Deborah Giddon painted a picture of a man whose life, much like his characters, was layered and at times turbulent. Despite personal struggles and his eventual departure from MASH, Larry Linville's legacy remains inseparable from his portrayal of Major Frank Burns, a character both deeply flawed and hilariously unforgettable. Linville brought humor and humanity to the role, making Frank a key figure in the show's chemistry. After his exit, the character of Major Winchester stepped in, offering a new dynamic, but for many fans,